So you open, you can see the window like this, right? Okay, you don't need to bother with the recent file or existing file, right? So we are going to do the new model, right? Family, okay, the family things I come later on. So model, right? We are going to create new. Okay, the template, right? We choose structural template, right? Later on, I think end of the maybe last week, I can explain how to create the templates. Okay, at this moment we follow the standard templates, but mostly each company they have their own templates, right? So if you go on work, right, they have their own templates, so you can follow their templates, right? But here we are going to use a standard template first. After we familiarize Revit, then we can create our own templates. So I choose a success templates. Okay. Okay. Now after open it, you can see the window something like this. Okay. Okay. In the window, okay. If you are familiar, uh, e-tabs or other software, right? So Windows something like this, right? Basically, you have the many menu bars, then you have the project browser, then you have the property palette, right? So sometime, right, you see property and project browser is a one side, but you can split it. For easy purpose, I do like this, right? Okay. In case you don't see this one, right? You right click on here. Oh, wait. Okay, right click here, then you can see it. Why I can see? Oh, sorry, here. If you cannot find out, right, then you can click it. Then you can find out your customized toolbar and so on, right? You can find out here, but mostly you can see this window after opening it. Okay. So just I go through the interface first. I introduce the interface, right? So this side, right, you can see my cursors, right? So this side we call project browser, right? So you see, right? I close everything first, right? So you can see here structure plan, 3D view, elevation, legends. Okay, later on we may annotate something. So all legend come here. Schedule. Okay, if we create some schedule, then we can see here. Okay, okay, this is example we can create here, but the example. So the old schedule here, seats, we can create the seats. That means that we can create a printable drawing. So that's called seats. Then families. Okay. In the last class, right, I always explain about the object, right? So, but different, okay, object and family is the same. In Revit, they call family, but it's actually it's object, right? In Revit term, they call family. In the Revit, you cannot see any name called object. So here, that particular software they call as a family. But if you go to different BIM software, they may use a different terminology, but it's equivalent to object, right? If you break down this object, right, and the family, right, you can see here, right, these are the all object, right? See, okay, basically these all are many items. I don't need to bother. So you just look at this one. So I enlarge this one. Okay, basically we want all this one, right? So you see structural beam system, structural column, fabric area is actually it's a reinforcement, right? So this is a fabric reinforcement, foundation, structural framing. Structural framing means beam or slab, structural load, the structural rebars, so on, right? So this is object. So the family, this is a collection of object, right? Family mean object here. Okay, why I enlarge one. Okay, you see under the structural column, right? They have a different category of the object: circular color section, universal beams, and concrete rectangular section. So inside here, you see there's a sizes. Okay, this size is actually is called as instances. Instant. But this is object. This is an instant of the particular object. Okay. So when I click here in the property, you can see, right. You can see here structural plan. It's still in the structural plan. But when I click here, you can see it's already change rectangular column with the size. So this is the instant of this object or family. Okay, I can create any numbers of object instances here, right? Under here, right? So what I can do, I right click, I create instant. right? So here I go inside here, right? Edit, right? So I can duplicate it, right? Click duplicate. I give the new names, right? Okay, okay. I'm going to create 500 by 500 column, right? 500 by 500. It is my name of the instance. Then width of the instance is 500, depth also 500, height also 500, right? Okay. So this is my instance. I create the instance. Okay, apply. Okay. Okay. Now the instance already come here. Right? Whatever object and instance we use this project is you can find out in the families, right? So for this, so I just delete it first. Okay, I just delete it, right? So let's say I'm going to use only one column, so I delete from this one. Okay, so I have only this one, right? This is a column. So in the column, right? So I have these properties. Sorry, I do it. Okay, because I want to copy something. Okay, so I keep it one. Okay, this column, right? These are 500 columns. If you want to edit it, we can edit. Okay, I cannot edit. uh, Okay, okay, we can do it later. Okay, so if you want to change it, we can change it. Okay, this is called instant. Similarly, if you go to the structural framing, right, you can see the concrete rectangular beams, right? At this moment I don't bother with the steel because okay, this course we are not going to talk about the steel design, so all are basically concrete, right? So I can see the concrete here. Okay, so concrete beams, so I can create a new concrete beams. So let me create one new concrete beam. Okay, say this one is 400 width and 800 depth, right? So width is 400, depth is 800. Okay, so I created. Okay, there's a many way to create. Just I explained to you, okay, whatever instances and object use, right? Is you can find under family, right? When you open the existing project, right? If you don't know some what are the object used here, then you can come down and see. So basically, these are things the standard families we call standard families, but we can create our own families as well, right? We can create our own families. It's called customized families. Okay, later I go to group. Okay, groups. Okay, if we have some groups, then you can see here is appear inside here. Revit links. That means if you link other Revit or if you link any okay, if we link any Revit file or any AutoCAD file, you can find here. Okay. So basically, this is a project browser. That means whatever in the model contain, you can find out in the project browser, right? So basic structure, you can see plans, 3D view, and elevation. Later, you can find out section as well. After we create a section, you can see the section. So, okay. So basic, okay, when you open the model, it's automatically created two levels. Sometime if you open a different version, it may not have the level. Then you had to, you may need to create the levels. Okay. So if you want to create a level, what you want to do is you have to go to any of the elevations. Okay. I go to the south elevation, let's say, right? So now you can see the levels, right? So first my work is I'm going to create the levels. Okay, so create the levels, right? Okay, before that, I go to I explain something about the menu, right? So there's several menus. Yeah, okay. Uh, Here, okay, the standard file, right? You can create a new. I don't need to explain too much because all of you are familiar. The standard file menu, you have new open serve as and so on, right? So uh, okay, normally serve as I just talk about the serve as, right? So you can save the project. Okay, I go and serve it. Okay, so I serve it my desktop. Uh, class 2. example one, save it. Okay, so this one serve as R dot RBT file. Okay, so then export. If you want to export to cat or whatever, you can do it. Normally we export it IFC. Last week I talked about the IFC, right? So if you want to serve as IFC, you can export it. So if you want to print the seats, actually you cannot print the models. You can print the seats or you can print the views. Then you can print it, right? Okay. Architecture things, right? Actually you can see it, but I'm not going to explain, right? So this is not is not aim of this course, right? So I'm going to talk about only structure, right? So structure, I'm not going to talk about steel or precast or a system is actually same many where I'm not going to talk about. So basically I'm talking about the structure and how to modify the structural elements, right? So the structure you can see here, okay, under structure, these are the elements. Oh, okay. In structural term, we call as the structural elements. But in Revit term, they call as a family, or BIM term is called as an object. So it's a beam, we have a beam, we have a wall, we have a different type, right? Structural wall, architectural wall. We use a structural wall, we don't use column. Then we have a floor also they have a different type, but we use only structural wall here, right? Trusses, if you call with the steel trusses, brace, beam system, right? It's again steel, but we don't use here. Okay, so for concrete, we use only these four elements, right? Then slab. Okay, foundation. If you go with the foundation, right? Okay, foundation the wall, right? This will be based on wall. If we have the rough footing, right? Then we go with the foundation slab or composite footing or strip footing. We may need to design it, right? So other than that, generally superstructure, we use these elements, right? Okay. Then reinforcement. So the later part we come how to draw the reinforcement. Okay. Component actually, right? Component means if you don't have any standard element here, if you want to draw something special, then you can use a component. Okay, it's also almost like a AutoCAD 3D. You can extrude and you can swap and so on. But I don't suggest to use this component, right? So if you want to use a component, better you create a custom family, then you import this model and do it. That's the right way to do it. But sometimes if you don't have enough time, because create a family take a time more time, so if you don't have enough time, we use this option. But the main problem is if you use a component, right? That component cannot be exported to structural design software. Only these things can be exported. These elements can be exported, but component cannot be exported. Right. So you had to aware of it. So if you are going to component, if you are going to use a component, then you had to make sure that this element you don't want to export to the structural design software. Okay, so that's what they put under model category. So model category basically is just a modeling. So it's not a analysis paper. Model text, you can put the text, you can draw the model line, right? If you want, you can draw the model line, then you can group it. Okay, this is opening. Okay, if you want to make the opening on the beam, or if you want to make the opening on the slab, or column, or walls, then we can create the openings. Okay, level and grids. Okay, this is a part we are on. This is a work plane. Okay, when we want to work on the 3D, right? Then sometimes we may need to set the plane. Later I come to this one. So we can set the plane using this one. Okay, so after that I got insert. Okay, basically insert is linking this model to external file. Is maybe AutoCAD file or maybe Revit file or maybe IFC or maybe PDF, right? So you can insert inside. Okay, also family, right? So if you have a custom family or if you have the other families, right? Let's say I click load family, right? So automatically they have, you see, precast, right? So inside precast, they have a I say custom slab. So they have a coloco slab. So if I want coloco slab, I can import it, right? So similarly, if you can create your own family, then you can load from here. Okay. Annotate. Okay. When we go to the detail, right? When you produce a drawing, then we use all these tools to annotate our elements. Okay. analyze. Okay, this is important for us. Okay, so first what we do is take what they call as a physical model, right? So we create the physical model first, then we convert to the analytical model. Physical model convert to analytical model, then we can apply the loading. We can apply boundary condition. That means we can put the supports, we can apply the loads, right? We can put the links. Okay, links. Okay, if you are familiar links, okay, normally if you use a find element software like etabs, then you familiar with the links, right? Rigid link, flexible link, and so on. So basically you can create the links, right? Right. So similarly, right, you can create the analytical link. That means it's not view in the 3D element, but you can create your own analytical member. Similarly, you can create the analytical panel. So what is the difference between panel and wall or slab? Actually, panel normally people use to apply the loads. Example, if we want to apply the wind load on the elevation, right? So normal practice is we calculate the load at each level and apply on the HP or slab, right? That's a normal way we do it, right? But this kind of the software later in the Tekla structure also, we can create a panel and then we can apply as the area loads as a pressure, right? So you don't need to calculate the area, how much area, how much a tributary area, and calculate as a line load. No need. Actually, you can apply as a pressure, right? You can apply with windward pressure, you can apply with leeward pressure. Similar, whatever you calculate from code, right? Windward pressure, leeward pressure, and so on, you can directly apply it. That's why they have the panel element. Okay, this any is very detailed. So at this one, I'm not going inside. Okay, then so we have boundary conditions means support loads. We can put the loads, right? These are the things, right? Actually, not so much important, right? So it's because these all are many things, right? Basically, say many things, right? We don't need at this moment, right? So okay, finally, I can do the structure analysis, right? Okay, the robot structure analysis, right? Okay, this is AutoCAD software. Robot structure analysis also from Autodesk, right? If you want to use this software, then you can straight away export to the robot structure analysis, right? But if if we install our Tekla Structure Designer, then you can go here and you can create a model and export it. But in this course, we are going to use this method. But in future, if you want to use uh, robot structure analysis, right, you can straight away, actually, you can straight away export it, right? So, okay, because these two software from the same company, so it's compatible. You don't need to bother with the compatibility. So you can export and you can import faster, right? Actually, you can view the results also in this software, but other software you can view the results. Robot results you can see here. That's the advantage of robot. Okay, next one is a massing and site. Okay, this one actually we don't use much. Normally architect use it because the okay normally they set up the sites. So like a how to call how I can say is okay. So let's say they don't have a detailed idea. I think last week I talked about the project phases, right? Pre-design stage or conceptual stage. They just throw the 3D elements without dividing the floors. So that's how it's called massing, right? So component wise they do it, right? So they can use this element, but we don't need this one much, right? Collaborative, okay. Collaborative, okay. As I said last time, uh, this software, right, is open. You can one model can be worked by many people. You can if you set up one model in the center server, right? Many people they can work concurrently, right? So what this collaborative menu help us so we can specify here who are the people going to collaborate, right? So if we specify it, then we can load from that model. Let's say you are doing the big projects, so it's a high-rise building. You had three more people, they are working concurrently, right? Then if you put the list here, And also if you set up the central model, right, then if you want to load other people's work, right, you can click and load it. Okay, so later on, if we have the time, I explain how to do it, but this is the idea. So that's why in the under collaborative menu, you can do all this work. Views. Okay, basically this is a view menu. You can see the views, right? 3D view, section, elevation, plans, and view. Okay, you have idea, right? What is the meaning of view, right? So all views you can see here, right? So to us important is visibility, right? So if you go to visibility, right? So you can see three category, actually four. Sorry, model category, annotation category, analytical model category, imported category, right? If you import anything, you can see here. File or more families, you can see here. So if you don't want that file, right, you can untick here, then unload it. If you want to unload it, if you untick it, it's automatically unload it. Okay. So I think next class I will discuss about how to import the AutoCAD drawings and do the modeling. That time you can understand how to import and do it. Okay, this model category means is a physical model, right? So if you untick something, right, then you cannot see here. If you want to filter it, this is a one way to filter. So if you untick column, then you cannot see the column. Okay. Then annotation category. Similarly, if you want to hide some annotation category, untick here. Analytical model. Okay. So analytical model, you see elevation, you can see the analytical model. Later I show the differences, right? Analytical model, now if you click so, then you can see it. Otherwise, you couldn't see it. Okay. So I call it here. Okay. The label, right? You see two different, actually both are same. Okay. This is a physical model. This is analytical model. That's a different, right? So here we set it. Okay. Normally physical model, we said no, don't show it. We show the analytical model only. Then you can see the analytical model. Let I explain how it's look analytical model, how it's look physical model. Okay, this is the difference. Okay, view, manage. Okay, manage. Okay, basically this is managing a project parameters or project informations, right? So basically you see project information, right? So here you can type in everything, organization name, description, building name, who is all that. That means who is a building modeler, IFC parameters, right? Then object, right? Others, project issue date, what's the date? Project status, client, who is a client, project address, project number, project name. So everything you can input here. So this is called as a project information, right? Then you can set your own project parameters, right? See here project parameter. So normally this is a standard project parameter, drawing number, job number, and so on, right? You can create your own and click new, right? So here you can create your own parameters, right? Let's say one beam you need, okay, you want to calculate the uh, surface area of the beam, example. Then here you can type in surface area, okay? The type, okay, this type, for instance, the difference is if you click type, right, you can see the property here. If you click instant, then you have to go edit type and do it. That means I only explained what is the meaning of instant, right? So this one you go inside and click it. Understand? Okay. Then discipline, all discipline or saksa only. So you do it saksa only. Type of parameters. What type of parameter? This is you are saying area, right? So area. So sectional area or whatever, right? Okay. So here you go and select your beam. Okay. Structural elements, something like. Okay. So you can create your own parameters. Okay. Okay. Basically, this menu for the how to manage our file or how to manage our projects. Okay. Add-ins. Add-ins, okay, basically if you want to add anything from external, then you can see inside here. Okay, in the Revit there's a plenty of third-party software or third-party tools. So you can add inside. So, okay, these all are advanced level, right? Actually, even you can create your own tool and add here inside, right? Under add-ins, you can do it, right? So that's the purpose of this add-in. But Tekla integration, I already said this also kind of add-ins, but there is appear in the separate menu. So using this menu, we are going to export to our structural design software, right? So later we discuss about this one, modify. Okay, it is like our AutoCAD, right? After you model it, if you want to modify, you want to copy, you want to move, if you want to rotate, trim, extend, then align, offsets, mirror, divide, split, array, and so on, right? So basically this modify is you modify your modeling, right? You want to change the alignment, you want to move, copy, and so on, right? Then also if you want to customize something, that means you if you want to join, you can do it, right? Copy, paste, cut, and all modification you are doing here. Okay. Okay. So now let's go to the first part. Okay. First one, our objective is level. We create the levels, right? So the automatically is created for us. So you see that annotation. Let me, okay. I forgot one thing. We go to the manage. We check the unit, project in unit, uh, material project informations, uh, project units. Okay, angle, degree, okay, area, meter square, also fine, cost, okay, distance, it says millimeter. I don't want millimeter. Distance I want in centimeter, millimeter, sorry, I want millimeters. Okay, the length millimeter. Okay, slope, okay, volume meter cube. Okay, this is common. Structural. Acceleration, area force, kPa, bar diameter, millimeter, deflection. Okay, this all are just you can set it. Force kilonewton. Uh, Okay, okay. Just I want to explain. Okay, here you can set your things, right? Okay, let's say force. If you want to say you want, okay, I don't want the two decimal. I want the one decimal is enough. Then you can set one decimal. Okay, the unit is simple, right? If you can select kilometer, it show kilometer. Otherwise, if you select none, it don't show it. Okay, you can see difference, right? It don't show the kilometer. So if you select kilometer, then it will show it. Okay, so that's a difference. Okay. Okay, now you understand the units, right? So our distance all are in millimeter, right? Basically, we model everything is millimeter. Okay, so here is a levels, right? So you see FFL. FFL means finished flow level, right? So this one you had to understand. There's a two level normally. We have the finished flow level that we call the architectural level, so final finish level. Then we have the structural level because always there's a finishes, right? Above the slab, there are always the finishes, right? So if you want to work on the structural model only, sometimes we change this one as a SFL. Actually, if you want to change it, you can change it this one as a SFL. But generally, we don't prefer it, right? So normally what we prefer is we lower down our slab by 50 mm or whatever the thickness we want it, right? We normally we lower down it, but it depends, right? Some people they keep it. Right? If you want to change it, then what you want to do is you want to edit, go edit, and change this one. And simple, change it. Okay. Otherwise, just keep it. Okay. Generally, we keep it. Okay. Level name. Okay. If you don't want to use a level, you can use a story. Our practice normally in Sri Lanka practice, right? We call first story, we call story zero, right? Okay, anyway, ground level. We call ground level. Yes. Okay, we call ground level. This one we call story one. Secondly, okay, okay. So now I am going to create the level. So I go to structure, click levels, right? So once you come here, okay, you can see this one. Okay, before that, you see after the row, under row, you see two line and pick line. I don't have any reference now. If I have a reference now, I can pick the line and make as a level. But here I don't have it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw the line. Okay, once I click here, you see offset, right? I can offset it. Similarly, you click here, plan, right? So I'm going to create structural plan, right? So at the same time, I can create a floor plan and ceiling plan, but to me, it's not necessary because I'm not going to draw any arches elements. So I just create a structural plan only, right? So I create a structural plan. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another story, second story, called second story. So I say I offset from first story 5 meter. Okay, now you can see. Okay, then okay, I want to offset the story 3. I want to offset 4 meter. Just do it. Okay, okay, okay. So you can see your level keep on increasing, right? You can okay. So automatically name it, right? If you want to change it, you can change it here, right? Secondly, okay, as I said, is a level is a one kind of object, right? Each level you can see the properties, right? Come here. So these are the properties of the levels: name, elevation, height, and so on, right? So you can copy this level or you can take the instance of this level, right? So you can understand how they do this one. Okay, you see in the level mean level contain the properties. So these all properties already set here, right? That means when they create this object or this family, they set up this properties. This property is variable. You can change it, right? So for example, I go edit, right? So you see the color, line color. Okay, if you want to change to magenta color, you can change it, right? Line pattern, you can change it. Last line, you can change it. Yeah, simple. Also, you can change it. Actually, level head FFL, right? So this they create the simple. But okay, let's say I'm going to change like this. Can be done. Uh, what happened? Okay, okay. Now I change it. You see, my head change. Understand? Okay. So because this object, I change it, right? Similarly, okay, I change my
Screen, hello,
uh,
share.
hello. Yeah.
Screen, screen is not sharing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, okay. Give me a minute. Yeah. Okay. What happened? Screen. Okay. Can you see now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So something happened. Okay. 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 So now you understand, right? So how to change the things? Actually, all our property can be changed, right? So you don't need to follow the standard. You can change it. So when it comes to the template creation, I can explain everything, but now I just explain the basic things only, right? Okay. So another things, right? Okay, let's say, okay, here one more thing I explain after we can go. But you see here one elbow. If you click here, right? Is elbow. Okay, let's say you have many levels, or each one are overlapping. You can change it like this. You can rearrange it. Okay. Secondly, the things you see once you click here, right? You can see the lock, right? Lock means, right? So if you want to, okay, let's say if I move here, right? All levels are moving together. If I unlock it, then you can move freely. Okay, you can move freely. Okay. Similarly, you see here tick, right? That means that this is bubble. So if you click here, it's go. Then you can on here. Okay. If you want to see this side, okay, you can change it. Okay. Okay. So we just create the 3 levels. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay. So now you understand, right, how to create the levels. Okay. Close it. Okay. So we can. Okay. So now we are going to draw the grids. If you want to place a row any structural elements, right, we need the grids, right? So we are going to draw the grids. Okay. Yeah. I do it on the ground level first. Okay, grid. You have the grid menu here. Just click it, right? Similarly, you see here once you click, you can see the properties of grids, right? So if you want to edit it, you can edit it, change the color, line type, and so on. You can edit it, but I am going to follow the standard. Okay, so just draw first. Okay, okay. This naming is your own standard, right? Our convention normally vertical A, B, C, D, horizontal 1, 2, 3, right? You can change it or whatever is up to you, right? So once you create one, right, then you can copy it. Or other way is you again click, right? Here you can see pick line or pick line, right? This one I can date on, right? So you can draw the line, right? Currently I draw the line, right? Here you see offset, right? So I can offset it. So let's say I'm going to place a grid is 8 meter spacing, right? Then I can offset it. Okay, this other way. I had to draw other way. So you have to look at this one. So it's become other way. Okay. So I finish. Okay. Similarly, you can copy this one. Okay. If you want, you can go to modify, select the grid and go to copy, right? Copy here. And then when you see this dimension, right, you can type on the your keyboard, you type 8,000, right? Enter, right? Now you create it, right? So same as level, right? This one, right, all locate. So when you move, right, it's all move together, all move together. Okay. Similarly here, right? Okay. Uh, Similarly, if there's elbow, if you want, you can use elbow, right? Then and the bubble. So bubble, if you want to show only here, okay, you can do it. So I'm going to show only top. Okay, now I already place a vertical grid. Then now I'm going to place a horizontal grid, right? So I do a horizontal one. So I make it one, horizontal one, right? Right. Then I am going to copy it easy. So this way I can create, let's say 9 meter, then another 9 meter, 9 meter. Okay. So we successfully create the 4 grids. Okay, understand? Right? It's very simple, right? Just drag and drop it, right? Okay. So now let's go to the elements, right? We go one by one. Okay. So the grids, I explain some more elements. Basically, is a multi-segment and curve. Okay, let's say you want to create a curve grids. Sometimes you need a curve, right? So you click the curve element here, start, you see start, end, and radius, right? Arc. So let's say, okay, from here, this already pick up the reference point. From here, I'm going to draw 6 meter. 6 meter. So this is my start point. End point, I point here, end point. Then radius. So this radius, I just pick like this. Later on, I can change it. So radius, right? I change to how much? 10,000, 10 meter. You see, change it, right? So we had to provide our own radius. How much? Let's say 30,000, right? So it's like this. Okay. Then if you want to extend your grid, you can extend your grids. Okay. Okay. Now you have a ray curve. Okay. So one more item, multi-segment, right? Sometimes, we have the grid going here like this, right? You saw sometimes you got a grid like this. We can do it, right? So it's called multi-segment. So multi-segment. So I do 4 meter. I go until here, to 80 meter. Then I go horizontally 5 meter. Then I go vertically. Okay. Enter. Okay. So you have the grid. Okay. You can rename it. Well, let's say this is F. I call F. This one I call G. So its own naming. Okay. So basically we have many type grids. So you can draw your own, or you can draw the circle, or you can draw the multi-segment. There's another type called pick lines. Because here we don't get the reference line, but when you import the AutoCAD drawing, right, we can pick the line. If we have the reference line, we can pick and draw it. So next class, I am going to introduce how to draw the plan and sections from the AutoCAD drawing. That time you can see how easy, right? Actually, you can just pick up. You don't need to draw it. You can just pick up the AutoCAD drawing and make as our own grid in Revit. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to the structural elements, right? So first structural elements I'm going to discuss is column. Okay, so far you want to ask anything? Okay, if you want to ask, you can unmute your mic and ask me. Or is it fast, or is it kind of go this speed? Any opinion? If you're okay, I can move on. Sahran, anyone want to say anything? Is it okay? Can I move on?
Yes, sir. Can move.
Okay, thanks. Okay, now let's go to the column, our first element. Okay, before go to the elements, right, we had to plan it, right? Okay, uh, uh, the difference between engineer doing the modeling and drafter doing the modeling. So whenever we do the modeling, right, we had to keep in mind how we are going to export this element to structural design software, right? So in the structural design software, you cannot understand the geometry. It's always understand the wireframe, right? The center line, right? So we had to keep in mind how is going to analyze in the software, the center line, right? So for example, this I click the column, right? Once you click the column, you can see the properties here, right? You can see the properties here. Okay, so similarly you can see some properties here. Okay, this come later. Here you can see the properties, right? Earlier I already explained how to change the width, how to create the duplicate, and that means how to create the new instances and so on, right? Okay, so now I'm going to press 500 square column first, right? So you see materials and cover. Okay, cover I come later on. So material, right? So always I advise to keep one materials. Concrete means keep one material, whatever material here, because this just for the illustration purpose only, right? It's not going to affect anything. It's just a material name, right? So when you do the tendering or when you use a realistic view, so it going to show based on this material, right? So you just choose one, right? Whatever things, right? But same for all, right? Let's say cast in place gray. Let's say if we have this one, keep it this one for all elements, right? Don't try to change it. Okay. Then is that when you come to the cover, right? So here, right, you can choose it. You can choose your own cover. Okay. So secondly, this material, right? Okay. If you want to change it, the problem is always join. If you want to join two elements later on, if you have the two different material, it won't join. That's a problem, right? So other than that, it won't give any other issue. Only problem is if you want to join two elements later on, then you cannot do it. Okay, right? So if you want to choose any materials, I mean uh, concrete crate and so on, then you can choose one crate here, crate 40, 35, 25, whatever, you can do it, right? So it's up to you. You can decide one and follow it. Okay, okay. Now, okay, it's simple. Okay, before that, I can show some more option. Okay, once I click here, you can see vertical column and slanted column. Slanted column we can do later. First vertical column, right? So column is vertical. So column I can draw on the grid at the grid. That means if I click the grid, right, then I can draw everywhere. So I just click it, finish. Why? Why not? Okay, sorry. Because in the intersection not can I select that. Sorry. So the if you had to move this way. So if you want to create, you can create all intersection. So it's automatically place it, right? But this one may not be a good idea, right? So I just delete first, right? So we had to understand what is doing it. Okay. Okay. So now come here. Okay. So depth. That means below this level. Okay, if you okay, when the reference, okay, now in the reference level is a ground level. So we want to create a column above the first story or below the first story. Okay, so let's say we are going to create from first story to second story, then we have to set height. Okay, then okay, if unconnected meet, we can draw the any height. But now we had to restrict it. That means we had from first story ground level to story one. So we choose the level. After choose it, yeah, you're gonna see any height. If you say unconnected, right, then you can define your own height, right? So, but normally column from one level to another level, right? Intermediate level is very rare, right? Unless if you have the some stem or something, then you may have a intermediate level for staircases. But other than that, generally we have a column. We have column running from ground level or one story to another story, right? So better to select the story, second story, right? So then you can click here. Okay, now you row the column. Okay, so I'm going to change the size. Okay, let's say I'm going to row the rectangular column. So I duplicate this one. Say my column is 300, but 800. Height is 800, 300 and 800. Okay, so you see column is this way. Okay, I click. Okay, I press this column. Okay, next one, I want to rotate this column. So what you want to do is press the space bar on the keyboard. So you see column are rotating. Okay. So even if you want to do 45-degree also can. Okay, now rotate 45, rotate vertical, sorry, 90-degree. Similarly, if you click rotate after place one, right? So after place it, then you can define your own angle. Let's say, okay, now you can type in keyboard also. Okay, let's say you want to do it 38.5, 38.5. So 38.5, do it. Okay. Okay. So anything you can place it, right? Okay, if you don't want to delete it. Okay, understand? So the column placement is this way, right? So now let's go and see the column properties after place it. Okay, look at the property window. So you see base level, reference level is ground level, right? Then stop level is story 2. We choose story 2. We don't choose story 1. We choose story 2. So it's called story 2. Then column type is vertical. Column style is type is vertical, right? Top offset is 0, right? To understand this one, I go to one of the elevation. Okay, see this column start from ground level to story 2 because I am the one decide. I am the one define it's a story 2, not story 1. Okay, generally some people do this way. Normally I don't prefer it, right? Especially if you want to use this model as an analytical model, should not do this way, right? You must draw flow to flow, must draw flow to flow, right? Then in this case, you can edit here. Okay, you can edit here. So all column flow to flow. That's why I say you have to keep in mind is a wireframe. How is work this wireframe, right? By this column like this. Okay, understand? So you have to think about the wireframe. So if it row to column, right? Some software gives a problem. Some software can understand, but some software make the wrong assumptions. So it don't divide your column intermediate. So your B may not connect properly. Okay. Then secondly, okay, as I said earlier, this is what is this? What is this level? It's architectural level. It's not structural level, right? Generally, what we do is we offset this one top level 50 mm. Sorry, minus, sorry, minus. Okay, minus, right? Similarly, you can select all column. You can select the all column. Right? Okay, all the column and offset it minus 50. Then you can see now your top column is minus 50, right? Because you had to understand this column, right? Okay, one more thing I want to tell. When you place a column here, right? This if you place on the center, right? This one take as a node, right? So your analysis is not going to be here. Later I saw you. Uh, okay, analysis is not going to be here, right? So if you don't adjust this one, analysis is not from here to here, right? Then you are all beams supposed to row here. If you row here, then it's wrong. Okay, it depends, right? So you can keep it anything, but it should be consistent. Understand? Okay, so you have to keep one consistent thing, right? For easy purpose at this moment, I don't want to complicate too much, but you have to keep in mind this is a way we have to work it. But for easy purpose at this moment, I make it Ola is a 0, right? Okay, now I convert this model as analytical model and show you how it looks. Okay, to convert as analytical model, you have to go to analyze, right? Click analytical automation. Click here, select, select the all elements, run, finish. Okay. Now you can see, okay, if you come down, right, I explain later on this one, but come down here, so analytical model, right? I don't see it. Okay, the reason is visibility. Go to view, you may face this the same problem. Okay, so model, make it all these are half hyphen column beam structural framing, all are half hyphen. Uh, why I don't see let's see. Okay. Okay, I come to this one later on. Okay, so in the 3D now you can see, right? So these are the wireframe, right? The plan I saw it for you. Wait, code to visibility, analytical model. Okay, I cannot see. Okay, the analytical model I can see now. So you can see here the knot. This is a knot. Okay, this is a knot. Here we supposed to see. Okay, okay, okay. If we select, then I can see. Why I cannot see now? Wait, let me say. Okay. Okay. Now you can see, right? These analytical notes. This is analytical note. For example, okay, I'm going to realign this column. Okay. I use align tool. Later I explain how to do it. Yes, I do it now. You can see, right? If I align like this, right? Now you can understand what is happening. In the not moving, only column moving. Understand? Because we are aligning, we don't select the whole elements, so the column not moving. So if you want to change it, right, you have to do all together. Then you have to use your move tools, and move to from here to here, something like this, right? Then that's why, and the engineer, when the engineer do want do the modeling, right, you had a bit caution. What are tool you are those using it? So how is going to affect your analytical model? So you had to be a bit caution, right? Otherwise, when you this always happening in our office, right? After people do the model, right? When you open it, right, it cannot be exported because the wireframes are not connected. See, okay, this column I just like this, another column like this, right? If I roll the one beam from the here to here, right, this beam not connected, right? Then if you export it, right, then I have to do the plenty of work to realign everything, right? So that's why when you do the work, right, you have to be careful how to do it, right? Okay, if you have this, later explain how to handle it, but uh, as much as possible, you try to avoid it. Okay, so that's why always you have to think when you move the elements or when you place the element, you have to think about the wireframes idea. Okay, okay. Now, okay, let's see the 3D views. Okay, default 3D view, right? Here, right? Now you can see, and the wireframe you can see here, right? Wireframe, right? So code to below, I explain below now. So here, detail level, right? So you can cause find, okay, actually the concrete you cannot see much, only steel you can see. Okay, that's for that purpose I wrote the one steel column. Okay, steel column, and you can see the difference. Unisol column, or maybe this one. I place it here. Okay, so you see, if I choose a course, right, it's a one line only. If I choose a medium, you can see the section. If you choose a fine, right, you can see the all green lines, right? These are different. The concrete, I cannot see much. Similarly, here you come, right, style. Okay, normally I use wireframe, right? If you want to realistic, right, you can use a realistic view. That means it's okay. You select the material, so it's show as a material, right? So if you want to go with a shaded, you can use a shaded, right? Similarly, if you want to use a consistent color, you can use it. So it's basically sometimes if you want to present your 3D, then you can shade it. Otherwise, better keep it wireframe. It's easy for us, right? Okay. Then there's other some tools, right? So crop, if you want to use a crop, you can do it. Regions. Okay, this one I can something I can come later on. Okay, the analytical model. Right? So we can hide the analytical model, we can show the analytical model. Okay, right? Okay. Secondly, here is another interesting tool I explain is temporary hide or isolate. Okay, let's say you want to hide this temporarily, then you can click this one, temporary hide. Sorry. Okay, okay. One way is if you want to isolate particular element and view it, you can isolate the category. Okay, so it's isolate uh, reset. Select this one, isolate element. Then you can see this element. If you want to view this element alone, you can isolate and view it, right? If you want to guide this one, you can hide it. You can hide the element. Okay. Then you can unguide it. Okay. So it's a temporarily, if you want to do some modification or so on, you can do it this way. Okay. Okay. I think you understand the column. It's a very easy to do it anyway. So only things I want to highlight to you is a wireframe, right? The center line of the column. Yeah, so you had to be careful on the center line of the column. Okay, okay. So now let's go to the wall. Right. Okay, wall, structural wall. Okay, wall and column quite similar. It's a depth or height. Okay, this depends, right? So I select the story one, right? Okay, here another wall is a center line because the wall we may place on the center line or we may place at the exterior, interior, and so on, right? So first I place on the center line, right? Offset, we don't want offset, right? If we have any reference, if we want to offset it, we can do it. Radius, okay, this one become later on. So here, look at the property. So it's select basic wall, generic 200 thing. Let's go and see what is this. So success edit. Okay. So basically it's a 200 thick wall, right? So we go with a 250 thick wall. Let's say, okay. So I duplicate it. Sorry, I duplicate this one. I say 250. Wall is 250, 250 mm. Okay. So I roll the wall from this line to this line. Okay. So this is placed at the center line. So let's say I want to face finished surface is exterior, right? Exterior. So if I draw from here to here, right? So surface is exterior. This surface is. If you say interior, it means other way. Okay, right? So basic. Okay. Similarly, like column, right? When you place this one, right? You have to see the material property. Okay. So even after places, you have to look into it. So base constraint, base is ground level, top level is story one, right? Then uh, okay, so wall material you had to look into it to here. So here, where is it? It's the material. It's supposed to be here, structural material. Okay, this call as a structural materials. We had to look into this, what is a structural material. It's already selected. Okay, I look into it. Okay, let I come. Okay, so the wall basically is like this, right? So the wall actually, okay, column is simple, but wall sometimes you may have the rectangular shape, you may have the circular shape, right? You can draw it, right? So once you click the structural wall, right, you can see here row pattern, right? You can draw many patterns, rectangular, you can circle, you can have the arch and so on, right? Let's say I draw the circular wall, right? So I draw it center line. Let's say center line, wall center line. Offset I don't need. Story first story one, right? So I draw it here, 3 meter diameter. So I draw it 250 thick wall, 3 meter diameter. So it's a 3 meter radius, right? So if I want to draw the uh, arch shape, we can do it. Okay, it's like a dome. You can do it. Okay, okay. Another one is okay. Chain. Chain means okay. Let's say I had to draw the walls continuously. Let's say I'm going here, then going here, going here, then I stop like this. Okay, I can draw continuously, right? So the radius, right? So radius also quite same. What I can do is okay. So if I roll like this, right, radius, right, so automatically is is calculate the radius and connected. This radius actually you can change it later on. So okay, if you want to change 2 meter, you can do it 2 meter. You can do it 2 meter, right? So basically, wall, right? Any shape you can do it, right? So once you click the wall, you all is tool appear here. You can do the modifications. Okay. So one more thing I explain. Okay, I think I don't need to spend a lot of times, but I explain one more thing. Okay, here your status. Yeah, currently I put your allow, right? That means you can see that it's join nicely, right? But if I say disallow, right? So it don't join, right? It don't join. You can see it don't joins, right? It's up to you. Is what is you want? It's depend on what you want. Okay. So I delete all this one necessary anyway. Okay. I believe you all of you understand the things so far. Okay. So I move on columns and floors, right? For that purpose, I draw some more columns, right? To draw the beams, I draw some more columns and walls. Okay. So I draw the column here, maybe one column here. I change the column size to 500. Here. Mm. I wrote that 250 thick wall, maybe here, maybe here. Okay. Okay. The column I do one more thing. I explain one more thing. Give me a minute. Come finish this one. Okay. Let's say you want to row the column along this curve line. That's why I could create the curve. I forgot curve. Okay. If you bring here, right? You see here, right? Here is drawing on the intersection, but it's not along the uh, curvilinear grid, right? So if you want to draw along the curvilinear grid, right, you press space continuously, right? So you can find out. So you see, so you can draw it. Okay. So this is a way you can draw along the grid. So just press a space but bar or enough. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's me to see the elevations. Okay, elevations. Okay. So I move it this one. Uh, okay, fine. So now I got the second story, sorry, story one and model the beam. So go to story one. So we have the columns. Okay, let's go to beam. So click the beam and see the properties. So we are going to produce a concrete beam, right? So let's say I assume my beam size is 400 by 800. You know how to change the beam sizes, right? Basically, right? Uh, the material I set same as column, cast in place for C40, right? This property I come later on, right? So if you want to see, you can do the editing and so on. But I first draw one beam size only, right? So once you click the beam, you can see you can draw the beam using these tools, right? Now I pick the line, right? If you want to draw the curve, you can use it. If you want to pick the line, you can do it. But this one I come later on. I first draw the normal simple line, right? Okay, here similarly, you see, okay, 3D snapping will come later. Chain. So if you want to draw one continuous beam, right? If you click chain, you can draw continuously. Okay, first I draw single beam from here to here, right? Now I had to do again from here to here. But if I click chain, right, I can continuously draw it, right? Finally, right click and cancel it. Okay, now I have created 400 byte beam. Okay, so look at the arrangement. So it's okay. You can see the line here, right? So this is the center line, right? So it's aligned equally. So it's a center line. So I pick from here to here. I draw from here to here. So, but the geometry or property, right? It start from here. But my center line start from here. Can you see? My center line start from here, right? But geometry aligned to the column is automatically aligned. Right? But my center line start from here. But let's say if I rub to here, right? Right? It's correct. So Sophia don't give that warning. But problem is your wireframe, right? So when you go for analysis, it skips about error because your center line not properly connected. So always you connect correctly on the column center, right? Okay. Secondly, now we see the alignment. Okay, starting point offset 0. We didn't offset it, but if you offset it, it will move this way. End offset also 0. If you let's say instead I say minus 300, right? Is why it did not show. Oh, sorry. Actually, it's elevation. Sorry, I am wrong. Sorry. Okay, this is elevation. This is elevation. I come to the elevation later on. Okay, this is a Y offset. Okay, so if I want to move the beam this way, right, I can set the offset, right? So let's say I'm going to move 100 mm, right? So beam move by 100 mm. upward, right? Still you see center line not move. Physically be move, but center line not move, right? So if you want, so if you use this option, center line don't move it, right? Zero. Okay. So y offset means vertically, right? So later we take the elevation and do it. So y we can set it means vertically. Okay. Then it show the cut length, right? Primary usage and so on. Okay, these are not important. Okay. Now I cut one section here. So if you want to cut the section, you want to go view, see here section. Just click one side here all the way to here, right? Then you can see this box, right? So this box is a view area. So if you see here, you cannot see anything. So you have to move so you can view it, right? Then right click on here, go to view, right? Section. Now you can, so now you can see project browser, right? We can see one more menu called section. So inside there's a name called section. So we can rename it later on. Okay. So now you see this is our B column. This is our B. Okay. So mainly I had to highlight all structural issues. Okay. You see the center line. Where our B columns and beam center line? Here, right? Uh, this box I don't want to see. Okay. Okay. So you see here, the- here to here. So our analytical model line also here, right? Let's see the analytical model. 3D is where's the 3D? Okay. So analytical model also here. This line also here. Okay. So it's perfectly connected. Okay. It's supposed to be like this, right? But if it is not aligned like this, then it gives a problem. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the section. Okay. Now, okay. If you want to change vertically, let's say this is a sloping beam. So you can adjust, let's say minus 300. Okay. So you can adjust this level, but see this level not move. If you want to move this level together, then you have to do it, right? If you want to move together, you can do it. That means what you want to do is undo, right? Select this whole beam, move this point to this point. Okay. So now you can move your center line together. Okay. So you had to see, okay, because this Revit software, right, mainly for drafting purpose, right? So they have a lot of option to make usability easier, right? But sometimes when you do the modeling, you had a bit caution because it may affect your analytical model. If you want to really use for analytical purpose, right, then you had to do the modeling with caution, right? That's why sometimes it's very hard to explain to RAS person, right? They cannot understand the wireframe model, right? So they do the things their way. So finally, we cannot use it. Or we had to spend a lot of time to rectify their model. So it's waste of time. We have, for that do I can go to success model. I can do my own modeling. I don't need to spend the time here, right? So before you start the modeling, you have to decide the purpose. Okay, you are going to use just for the modeling, that means rafting purpose, then you can model whatever you want. But if you want to use for the structural modeling purpose, then you have to be careful on the wireframe. Okay, this is a B. Okay. Now let's go to the. I close it at this moment. Now let's go to slab. Okay, floor. Slab is floor, structural floors, right? So here there's a many way, many types, right? Floors basically many types. So we normally we use generic type. That means the concrete slabs, right? So but here you can see metal deck and there's a many, but generally we use concrete slab is generic type. Okay, so we click edit, right? So I duplicate it. So I want to use 250 thick, let's say 250 thick, 250 thick, right? So the thickness I edit, so I make it 250. Okay, so once I click the slab, right, you can see the edit tools, right? I can choose a boundary lines, I can choose a, rectangle, I can choose a curve, right? So I choose a rectangle, right? So I can draw from here to here, for example, right? I click finish, right? So you can see this actually is a spanning direction. At this one, I don't need, so I delete it, right? So if you want to edit this one, now click on here. Now you are in the edit mode. So if you want to change this one, you can let's say you had to move this slab right this way, you can move it. You can do it like this, right? So you can extend. Okay, this is not a good way, but I just saying you can edit any way to make it easier. Then click OK. Then you can edit this way, but it's not a good way. Okay. Or okay, let's say I'm going to use a curve shape, right? Curve shape. Let's say here this portion. I'm going to do it. Okay, I use a boundary line, right? Easy. This portion. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Why? Okay. So I can draw the shape like this. Okay. I draw the shape like this. So you can do the slab like this. So if you go 3D, you can see your slab. Okay. Mm. Okay. Let's say if you want to draw the curve like this, curve, let's say, right? So how you can do it is you draw the boundary lines first. This from here to here. Then you click the curve. Then you draw the straight line and finish your slab boundary. Click OK. Okay. You can nicely draw your curve. Okay. Very easy, right? If you want to edit this one, click here. Yeah, just sorry, this I did it. Just double click, edit boundary. You can edit anytime. You can edit this one, right? Another one is a spanning direction. This one, this is a spanning direction. Actually, you can change it. You can pick the line. Let's say it's this one. You want to change it, you can change it. Okay. So also you can draw the line. Let's say okay, sometimes you want a angle, right? So you can draw the spanning direction like this. It's up to you to decide. Any you is very flexible. You can do your way. right? Okay. So let's see some more option on the slab. Because all these options I already explained many times in the circle, square, so you can try yourself. Uh, Now I go with the slope, right? Okay, how to do the sloping? Okay, so for sloping, right? First I draw the rectangular uh, slab. I draw one here, right? So now I draw the slope from here to here, right? So here I specify height and tail, right? Tail is ground level. Tail is first story. The tail means this side, right? This side. Tail is sorry, first story, right? Head I put on the second story, right? Offset I make it 0. Apply. Okay. Now you see slab change because this is a ramp, it's a sloping slab. So let's go in 3D and see how it looks, right? So it's look like this because I am the one decide. Okay, this is at the story one and this one the story two. So you can see, right? This, right? So this is the second story. If you want to do it like this, you can do it, right? So if you want to go other way, also can. So now you had to go because now you're gonna see the arrow here. You had to go to the story two and see the arrow. So edit, like this arrow. Let's say if you want to go down ground level, you can do it ground level, right? Okay. Now you go to ground level, you can see this slab. Okay. In 3D, you can see like this, right? So if you want to do the ramp, you can do this way. Okay, understand? Okay. Actually, in the slab, right, we have a many option because some slab is a most time we use it, so it's most different shape we require. So slab in the Revit we have many different options. So that's why when you spend more time on the slab, so some other options I explain is okay. It's called sub elements. So I wrote the square shape slab. I click OK, right? I delete this span. I select this slab. You can see here modify sub element, right? Click modify sub element, right? Here there's options called and okay. Before that, okay. Let's say this slab, right? I want to okay. Earlier I explained how to do the RAM, right? This other way to do the RAM. So this point, right? Relatively, I can increase the height. So let's say this point I increase it by 1 meter. This point also I increase by 1 meter, right? So if you go in 3D and see, right, you can see that this level is raised up, right? This level is raised up. Okay. So in the 3D you can see here, this level is raised up. Okay. So I change to 0. This actually is quite good tool. So you can do many things. Where's the slab? I can see that. Okay, because it's the ground level. Sorry. Okay. Okay. This now you understand, right? RAM we can do the standard way, or we can do this way, right? If you want to do the RAM, better you use the arrow method. That's a easiest way to do it. But sometimes you have the different shape of the roof, right? For example, roof, right? So that for that shape of the roof, right? This a good tool. You can do it easily. Okay. So you see after click sub element, right? There's a one three option. Okay, I click add point. So I'm going to raise up this top level at the center, right? For example, I have a point here, center point, right? Here, this point. Then this point I increase by 2 meter, right? So now you can go and see 3D. So you create your roof, right? Okay. Similarly, right? So we roll the another slab, another rectangular slab, finish it, right? Add split line. Okay. So I say I have the two lines like this, right? So I'm going to raise this level, okay? 0 to how much? 1 meter. This one 0 to 1 meter. This one also I make it 1 meter, 1 meter, right? So go 3D and see how it looks. So in the this is a 1 meter flat, this is a sloping, right? So when you have a complex shape of roof, right, roof slab, right, you can do this way. Okay, so this sub element tool is actually quite good. There's a lot of flexibility, so you can play around it, right? So it's just I explained few example, but now you understand how to play around it, right? So you can play around this one. Okay, pick support is another one. Okay, I show it slabs, then you can understand what is a pick support. Okay, so I row the slab is. Okay, I long row the slab first. Okay, then I row two beams. Okay, maybe three beams, right? So now I select the pick support. I select the supports. So go to 3D. So you can see right now the slab is supported on top of the beam, right? You can see the difference, right? So beam is below, beam center line is below, so slab center line is above, right? So slab the beam automatically lower down and is make as a support, right? So mostly this tool is suitable for steel beam and slab because concrete normally we cast together, but steel be slab putting on top of the steel beam. So when you do the steel beam with the bond slab or other type of the slab, this tool is useful. You can raise up this one, but again, I advise you don't use this kind of the tool if you want to use for the analytical purpose because the reason is very simple. Center lines is not properly aligned. These all tools are good for easy modeling, but it's not good for analytical purpose, right? Sometimes unfortunately we may need to use it because uh, we had to do the model real way, right? But structurally sometimes we may need to simplify it, right, for our analytical purpose. We cannot exactly do the same thing in the analysis, right? Even though we put that slab on top of the beam, but when you do the analysis, right, the line should be the same center line. Otherwise, the software cannot understand, right? So that time we had to do some modifications. I come later on because there's a way to do it actually. That's one called analytical link. You had a link and so on, right? But it's very complex, right? For normal slab beam slab system, it's very complex, but we can do it. Okay.
For the concrete and concrete slab and the beam connection, we also need to do some modification
Uh,
for the
concrete
beam
beam,
to slab,
beam
beam
to
slab connection.
beam
Yes.
to slab section. No need to do any modification.
Uh,
Okay.
when we go
Yeah, the
on the
concrete beam to
plan.
slab, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I come back to the concrete beam and slab. I already have the beam, so okay. These are some advanced rules, so I delete it. So I go to my level one, right? Level one. Okay. So I delete this one also. So I copy all this beam to below. Okay, this one I leave it. Copy. Okay, when you copy, right, you see these are constraint and multiple. I don't want multiple. Constraint mean it can move vertically or horizontally. It cannot move skew. Right. So I copy to here. Okay. So now let's draw this beam here. Let's draw the slab here. Okay, I use a rectangle shape. Okay. So now I cut the section again. Go to view, cut the section. Go to the section. Okay. So now you can see slab and beam perfectly matched. Both underline is the same. The concrete beams and slabs shouldn't be a problem. Only when you have the steel, the slab is on top of the beam. So when you move it, the center line also move together, right? For steel, concrete beam shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Okay. So let's say this slab, right? You want to have okay, you want to extend this outside. This slab you want to extend outside. Right. One way is you can modify it, right? You know how to modify these boundaries, right? Move the boundaries and so on, right? So other way is offset, right? Okay, so I delete this one. So when you row, okay, so after you click, right, here you can see, right, offset it, right? So, but problem is if you offset it, this side also offset it. Right? For this purpose, I do it. I delete this one. I delete this slab and I show you the offset rule. Mm, I click rectangle, offset, let's say 600 mm offset, right? All direction offset, right? See, oh. Okay. Okay, so we're keeping the boarding because it's overlapping. That's why it keeps the boarding. Okay. So now we can place like this, all offsetted, right? Okay. So the slab, there's a many way to do it. You guys have many tools to edit the slab boundaries, right? Then you can go ahead and do it, right? Similarly, span, you can define your span. If you want to row the ram or sloping slab, you can do it. Okay. I think I stopped today. It's almost what time? 745, right? Because we already learned 4 elements. You practice first. Basically, I only capture 4 elements. Next week, so I am going to capture how to modify it. Uh, oh, okay. If we have 15 minutes times, okay, I think I can start one more things. Is it's a component, right? Oh, it's a very fast one. I'm not going to spend many times on the component, but it's very fast one, right? So let's say in the beam, I want to have the sex conching. Let's say I want to conch the beam, for example, right? So if you want to conch the beam, one way is we had to do the profile. That means we create a different profile family to include the conching. That's a way. That's actually the right way to do it. But sometimes if you don't have time, we have to do it faster. Then we can use a component, right? So what I'm going to do is, okay, let's say this beam, I'm going to lower down by 100 mm or 200 mm this beam. So first I want to do is I go to modify. I had to split the beam. Okay, so splitting. Let's say I want to 3 meter from here 3 meter. So I split the beam. Now I splitted the beam. Right, so it became a two beam. Okay, it's become a two beam. Okay, so now I want only the beam. Right. Okay, I reduce it this one. Also, I reduce it this one. Or to the view. Okay, so this beam, okay, this beam, height, okay, let's say I want to lower down this one. So what I want to do is vertically I had to lower down, right? So let's say I lower down by 200 minus 200. Oh, I, I, okay, I move it down. I restricting. Okay, there are some issues I don't understand why this person doing this one. Anyway, okay, my purpose is to draw the conch here. Okay, this issue will come back later on next week maybe. Okay, so what I'm going to do is component, right? Model in place. right? So what kind of the model we are going to draw? Structural framing. Okay, you can give any naming, right? So what I want to do, okay, we had to draw the reference lines, right? So basically we going to extrude it, right? We draw the coins here and extrude into the screen direction, right? So extrusion, right? So it's asked to pick up the plane, sorry, I pick up the plane, right? So now I have the option to row the segment, what segment I want to extrude it, right? So I pick at the point here, then here, this one you can decide how much you want to go, 400, 500, let's say 400, then you decide, finish, right? So now is depth, how much depth you had extruded, right? So depth is width of my beam, 400 I had extruded, right? So minus, okay, okay, finish. So if you go to 3D, then you can see the difference. Okay. So you can see the differences, right? This beam. So I hide this lab. Okay. So you can see the difference, right? Actually, there's elements. I don't know, understand why there's element. Something happened. Okay, let's see. Okay. So you can see, right? So we have this is our haunching. Okay. So haunching we can do this way, right? And similarly, if you want to rope down the slab, you can do the same way. Okay, so lower down the particular level, then you can draw your punching, right? So these all are the modeling, right? It may affect your structural uh, analysis. So that's why okay, even though we have the hunching, right, we can keep our center line at the center, analysis line on the center, then it may not give the issues. Okay. Mm. Okay, so one more thing, I think I can quickly go ahead. Okay, I undo these things. I show you the yes. Okay, okay. Okay. I want to I want to show you analytical model. I hide the slab first. Okay, so now you see, look at the analytical model. How it's look, right? So our top level is here, but we draw the beam below, right? Let me see. Am I right? Yes, right. So our beam line is here, our but column line is here, right? So we suppose to row the beams lines here. Then we had to adjust this one, the line, this line. Okay, this adjustment I saw you later on. You think how we can adjust it, but next class I explain to you, right? So now you understand the problem, right? So beam center lines, beam analytical line is here, but column end line is here, and they're not this here, right? So you think how we can adjust it, right? Okay. So now earlier, as I said earlier, right? This problem we had to solve it before that. Okay, so you can see what's happening. Okay, okay, simple. You just go through it and see actually what's the problem. Okay, so similarly, wall, right? You see the it's a center line, right? Actually, this analytical line, right? You can change it. Select here. Oh, here, analytical panel, right? The center line, analytical center line. These materials. Uh, okay, let me check because they changed something here. Let me go back and check. Actually, these lines can be changed easily. I'll go back and refer this one. This person they changed something. Okay, so over the weekend, you think how we can easily adjust this one, or how we can avoid this issue? Okay, I think almost 8 o'clock, right? We can stop here. So we finish the column, wall, beam, and slab. Also beam conching. That means a model in place, right? So next week, right, I'll go through the modify. First I go through the modify. After that, uh, I won't import the AutoCAD drawing and start from AutoCAD. How to do the modeling from AutoCAD, right? So next class, after we finish a beam, right? So next class, basically what I want to explain is how to set up the project from starting, right? How to set up the model, then how to import the AutoCAD drawing and do the modeling from AutoCAD drawing. Because now you familiar how to do the all four elements, right? So after these four elements, right, this element we already learned. So then is a modify, how to do the modification, right? So others as at the opening, right? One more thing I want to cover opening, so I can cover the opening also next week. So after that we can go and study how to build the model from beginning, right? Before I start that one, I want you to familiar all the tools, all the elements, how to place it, how to align the elements properly, right? Then you can move on to how to start the projects and to work on the actual projects. Okay, I think that's all today. So anyone have any questions? Then you can unmute and ask.
Hello.
Okay,
Hello.
okay. Give me a minute. There's some question on the chat box. Sorry, I didn't see. Uh, Wall is reinforcement wall or just block wall? Okay,